This week on ANN, a Bible study guide takes a closer look at the Genesis creation story.
A new film celebrates the beauty and diversity of the natural world.
And an upcoming television and web series has a new take on wildlife programming.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thanks so much for joining us this week. We'd like to welcome you to a special New Year's edition of ANN and to our new studio.
With the new year comes a new beginning, and for our first show of 2013, we're focusing on the very first beginning of the book of Genesis. This year, the Adventist Church will promote the biblical account of creation, how it impacts our worldview, and how it makes us distinctly Adventist.
This week, we'll preview a Bible study guide, a film, and a television series, all dedicated to celebrating creation. But first, we're looking back on an event that kicked off the Adventist Church's focus on creation. Jennifer Stymist has this report.
Seventh-day Adventist Church headquarters in the U.S. state of Maryland recently hosted a free outreach event called Celebration of Creation. The event introduced thousands of area school children and community members to the Adventist belief in a literal six-day creation. Celebration of Creation began with daytime workshops geared toward elementary-aged children. Kids learned about God's creative power through songs, stories, and a little help from an animatronic dinosaur. Guide magazine nature columnist Rich Aguilera dismissed the idea that variety in nature is evidence of evolution.
We know that several hundred years ago, there was only a few species of dogs. But then man started breeding them, and suddenly there was more kinds of dogs. And suddenly another 100 years goes by and there's a whole bunch of more dogs. And another 100 years goes by and there's a bunch of more dogs. And another 100 years goes by and it just goes on and on and on. And suddenly now we have hundreds of species of dogs. Of course, evolution looks at this and says, see, look at the change. Look at the change. You can see it right there in the front row. Imagine this over millions of years, though. But that's the problem. You have to imagine it. Because there's no evidence that these creatures are changing into anything except dogs. Right? I don't see any penguins or broccoli or horses up there. All we see is dogs. Variety. Variety. Built into our DNA. Right? I mean, look at you guys. Do you guys all look the same? God made variety. And it's something beautiful and something that should be celebrated.
Evening lectures for adults featured Adventist scientists and medical professionals, including pediatric neurosurgeon Dr. Ben Carson. Carson gained worldwide recognition in 1987 when he led the first successful separation of conjoined twins. Since then, he has used the spotlight to share his belief in a God who cares personally about his creation. During his keynote, Carson pointed to the human brain for evidence of intelligent design.
How many people here remember your birthday? Okay, I think it's unanimous. What did your brain have to do for you to respond to that question? Well, first of all, the sound waves had to leave my lips, travel through the air, enter your external auditory mediators, travel down to your tympanic membrane, set up a vibratory force, which traveled across the ossicles of the middle ear to the oval and round window, setting a vibratory force in the inner lip, which mechanically distorted the microcilia, converting mechanical energy to electrical energy, which traveled across the cochlear nerve to the cochlear nucleus at the pontomedullary junction, from there to the superior olivary nucleus, sitting bilaterally at the brainstem to the lateral meniscus, to the inferior colliculus, and the medial geniculate nuclei, across the thalamic radiations to the posterior temporal lobes, beginning auditory processing. From there to the frontal lobes, coming down the tract of Victor's jury, retrieving the memory from the medial hippocampus, structuring the memory bodies back to the frontal lobes to start the motor response at the Bett cell level, coming down the corticospinal tract, across the internal capsule into the cerebral peduncle, descending down to the cervical medullary decussation, into the spinal chord gray matter, synapsing there, going out to the neuromuscular junction, stimulating the nerve and the muscle. So you could raise your hand.
Adventist church leaders say they hope Celebration of Creation inspires audience members to find a new sense of belonging as part of God's creation. At Adventist World Church headquarters, this is Jennifer Stymist for ANN.
You can read more about Celebration of Creation online at news.adventist.org.
Adventists are also promoting creation this year with a special edition of the church's Bible study guide. Called Origins, the guide takes a closer look at the Genesis creation story and explains how a belief in creation is the foundation of the Adventist faith. Weekly lessons approach topics like the seventh-day Sabbath and environmental stewardship as ways Adventists celebrate and value God's creation. Earlier today, I sat down with Adult Bible Study Guide editor Clifford Goldstein for a preview. Thank you for speaking with us, Pastor Goldstein. How did you and your team approach this Sabbath School Quarterly on creation?
Well, after we were given the assignment and we're told creation, we were trying to think, okay, what's the best way to go at this? How could we go at this? And we thought it would be a really good idea to get a scientist here, because even though the question of creation really fundamentally is a theological issue, a biblical issue, in our day and age, it can't be separated from the questions of science.
Why is the study of origins important for the church right now?
I think the whole question of origins is important for everybody. You know, we get our sense of who we are, our sense of self-identity from where we came from. And of course, if you know, for a number of years now, you know, for centuries, people thought we came from God or gods. In the past 100 years since Darwin, they said we come from apes. Okay, and so it's very important to know where we come from, especially as with the church and our belief in God as the creator and our whole understanding of why we worship God.
What do you hope readers will take away from studying these lessons?
I think the important thing is I want them to understand that we can trust the biblical account in Genesis as it reads, the 6 literal day creation. I mean, we are attacked in the news media, we are attacked, you know, even unfortunately, even among professed church members. But in the end, we want our people to see that our teaching on a literal 6-day creation is really the only correct way to interpret the scripture and why it's important for us as a people.
Now, what can readers expect about this week's lesson, their very first lesson?
Well, obviously, it's introducing the whole topic, but we emphasize specifically Jesus as the creator, because this is a theological study as much as anything else, and we talk about Jesus as the creator, and then we deal with the amazing thing that the power that created all this, he became a human being, lived among us, and died among us. So we try to link together the theme of Jesus as creator and Jesus as redeemer, because they're inseparably linked in our understanding of theology in the Bible.
We'll bring you a preview of all the upcoming lessons here on ANN Video in the coming weeks.
But up next, a behind-the-scenes look at a new film celebrating the beauty and diversity of nature.
Praying together with people, uniting with God, seeking Him as one, there's nothing like it. And I just want you to imagine with me over thousands of churches coming together, praying. Thousands of people, maybe even over 1 million. What is God going to do? I don't know, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be there, and I hope you'll be praying with me.
Welcome back. Adventist World Church Headquarters last month screened a powerful new film celebrating the biblical account of creation. The film features a narration of the Genesis creation story set to footage of nature and instrumental music. Adventist filmmaker Henry Strober says his 4-year journey around the globe collecting footage reaffirmed his own belief in God's creative power. Williams Costa Jr. has this report.
In 2006, German Adventist filmmaker Henry Strober felt called to celebrate the beauty of creation. He wanted to present evidence of God's creative power in a compelling way that would make audiences rethink their views on origins. The result? A film called The Creation captures the variety and scope of the nature. Adventist leaders watched the film and decided it was a perfect fit for the church's focus on creation in 2013 and 14.
The authority of God in creating this earth is linked to just about every principle and doctrine that we have. And all of those doctrines, of course, are focused upon Christ. And the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit participating in creation is so fundamental to just about everything that we believe. If you take that away, you dismantle so much of what makes us Christians and Seventh-day Adventists. And this film is going to underscore in such a powerful way the dramatic creation that God accomplished in 6 days and then capped it with the seventh-day Sabbath.
Strobel was working for an advertising firm when he first started working on the film Creation. He says it soon became clear that he would never finish unless he fully devoted himself to the project. In a moment of surrender, Strobel asked God to take away his clients as a sign. Within a few short weeks, he had lost his biggest client. With a renewed sense of direction, Strobel and his team began creating a film that would bring viewers closer to God.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Strobel spent 4 years collecting 100 hours of high-definition footage and more than 100,000 photos from 5 continents. Strobel and his team edited those images to illustrate the 6 days of creation recorded in the Bible. Music composed by Adventist musician Dominic Buchner and performed by the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra tied the story together. Early screenings of the creation began in Europe in 2010. Almost 75% of the first audiences were community members unfamiliar with the Adventist belief in a 6-day creation. Strobel remembers looking into the eyes of audience members and immediately knowing that God has touched their hearts and minds. The experience was a powerful affirmation of his own belief in God's power.
Finally, I understand the biblical word, the way God put things together in the first 6 days of creation, including the Sabbath. And it gave me an understanding why it is necessary to understand God's plan on creation. And it opened up a totally new world for me and it affirmed for me it is good to be a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm actually proud on it, and to share that message, that particular message with so many people out there, and it really touches my own heart.
Now, as his film gains worldwide recognition, Strobel hopes it inspires audiences everywhere to share their belief in creation. He says Adventists in particular are at the unique crossroads. Through the creation account, members worldwide are poised to offer a sense of belonging and meaning in a hurting, broken world. Through a closer look at Genesis, the Adventist Church's values and beliefs become clear.
If we skip creation, there is no need for us anymore to believe in the Bible. If we skip creation, we forget about the salvation plan. If we skip creation, there is no need for us for the Sabbath. If we skip creation, we may forget about being a Seventh-day Adventist. And that's what we're called for, to proclaim the first angel's message, honoring who had made heaven and earth.
Then God said, "Let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens."
Adventist leaders are expected to officially release the creation for worldwide distribution this year. At the same time, plans are in place to dub the film in languages spoken around the world and make it available for local screenings.
People around the world are going to be absolutely thrilled to have an affirmation of this creation. And not only that, people who have never really thought about creation in a dynamic way are going to be attracted to this precious truth that helps us to see that God was, is, and always will be. He is our Creator, our Redeemer, and our soon-coming King, and the film helps us to know that.
We'll have more details on the distribution of The Creation here on ANN Video in the coming months.
When we come back after the break, Animal Encounters. An upcoming Adventist television and web series takes a closer look at the animal kingdom.
Hi, my name is Carrie, and I just want to share what a blessing it has been for me to be a part of the united prayer that we've had in our church. We've probably had a number of Global Rain prayer times together, and I have seen the mighty power of God work in our church family with bringing healing and forgiveness, and just seeing the power of God work in our children. And I just want to encourage all of you to join this time. It is not an option to come together in united prayer. It is a necessity. So please, I encourage you to join with your church family and even in your own family to come together and pray, because God has promised, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of you.
Welcome back. Shows like Planet Earth have made Discovery Channel and other cable networks popular in recent years. But there's one important element missing in almost all of today's nature programming. A new television and web series produced by the Adventist Church is hoping to change that. Andre Brink has this report.
Switch on your television, study your TV guide, surf the net, and you will find a multitude of animal and nature programs, beautifully produced, depicting nature at its best, but lacking one very important element, a Creator God. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is about to change all of that. Take a look at this preview, showcasing highlights from an exciting new television and web series currently in production. The series is called Animal Encounters. Animal Encounters is the first co-production between 3 of the Adventist Church's Hope Channel studios: Sid Media in South Africa, Stimme der Hoffnung in Germany, and Novo Tempo in Brazil. The series is hosted by 3 young women: Gabi from Germany, Kezia from Kenya, and Kassela from Brazil. Join these 3 adventurous women as they encounter God's creation in South Africa. The series is recorded in 3 languages: English, German, and Portuguese.
My best experience with the Animal Encounters was the encounter with the elephants. To ride an elephant, I've always wanted to do that. To feed an elephant baby was absolutely fascinating, but also to hear how they interact, how emotional they are, how they care for each other, and how they even mourn with each other. It was so fascinating to see how they, as a group, live together.
Imagine if someone produced a program about Picasso's paintings. Do you think anyone would create a TV series showing all the beautiful artworks of Picasso and never mention that Picasso created them, his own works of art? This would never happen. So why do we humans create all these stunning nature programs and never mention God, the creator of all?
It's 100% sure that the worst experience for me was to touch a snake. I'm actually from the north of Brazil, and in the north of Brazil, near to the Amazon, we respect the snakes. Snakes are there in their place, in their environment. We don't go there, we don't touch. It's kind of animal that you don't touch, and period. And for me, it was the worst thing.
Many of the wildlife sanctuaries that we visited are run by dedicated people who care about animals and who have given their lives to rehabilitating animals. Some injured, some saved from circuses around the world, others orphaned through hunting, and yet others that were abandoned pets.
I'm here with my animals, and believe me, it's as close as I can get to God is when I'm with my animals and with these fantastic animals, and they're so amazingly beautiful. You know, we humans, with poaching, with the animals with their habitat loss as a result, with forest delogging and stuff that the humans do, when there's nothing left, I mean, what's there going to be left for us?
If I did not believe in spiritual guidance, in a God-given purpose, in miracles given from above, then I would be very foolish.
You know, these creatures are God's creation, and it's a wonderful way of bringing them close to nature. Through the elephant, we can do so much. We can reach out to so many people.
I only shed a tear twice, and it was all because of canned hunting. It really hurt me that, you know, people would actually kill animals for pleasure.
This year, 2013, is a year when the worldwide Seventh-day Adventist Church will be placing a focus on creation. Animal Encounters is but one of the many projects the church will undertake to show that we still believe in a literal 6-day, 24-hour-a-day creation. How can we even hesitate for one moment to wonder at the amazing nature that God has created all around us? Watch for Animal Encounters, coming to your screens soon.
Thanks for watching A&M. We wish you and your loved ones a blessed and joyous New Year. We look forward to bringing you more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in 2013.
That's our program for this week. Stick around during the credits for a look at a few of our favorite outtakes from the past year.
And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Start.
Seems also familiar.
Kind of deja vu, huh?
Boy, I want to see your blooper reel.
Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. What God's will is His good.
I fill in the blanks.
So black.
Lyle.
Okay, Jennifer, what is my hair doing that needs to be?
Adventists in the North.
To share story. Theft.
Now let's talk.
There's no reason to store old prescriptions. There's no reason to say this over and over again.
Say 1, 2.
Now let's look at the blooper reel.
Yeah, it is. I was wondering how you read the backwards.
Yeah, I'm not good at pretending.
Oops. You can visit news.advent.
Sorry. Thanks for watching Adventist News Network.
Sorry, I wasn't looking.
It's okay.
Till next time.
Okay, good. Done.
And that's it?
Was that all right?
Cool.
I think that's it.